This section is so similar to the last one. I'm not going to do as many examples, but I will remind you what the other three trig ratios are. So according to SOHCAHTOA, I'm going to write it on, I'll find space. I'll write it like over here or something. Okay, so we know that sine is opposite over hypotenuse, according to the SO of SOHCAHTOA, okay? And then remember that the reciprocal of sine is cosecant. So that means cosecant is hypotenuse over opposite. So I'm just kind of reminding you of what cosecant is, because the process to do this these questions is exactly the same process as the last one. It's just there's three other trig ratios to remember. So according to SOHCAHTOA, we have cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and the reciprocal of cosine is secant. So we just flip it over, is hypotenuse over adjacent. Okay? And last but not least, we have TOA, so tangent is opposite over adjacent. And then when you reciprocate that, you get a cotangent. So we just flip it around as adjacent over opposite. Okay, I'll give you guys some time to write this down. So I'm going to pause the video. All right, so let's get on to our question. So as you can see, they're already giving us cotangent, which is one of the other three that we were not doing in the previous example. So cotangent is, according to our chart, adjacent over opposite. I don't know why my writing's really ugly right now, sorry. So adjacent over opposite being -8 over 15. I'm also going to draw the circle, of course. Let's draw it here. It's where I have space. Okay, so I'm going to put my point over here in quadrant 4, because they said angle A is in quadrant 4. Connect it to the center and then also drop it upwards. I guess not really a drop, but bring it upwards until it reaches the x-axis. So remember, this is how you draw your triangles in quadrant 4. Okay, so our adjacent over opposite is going to be -8 over 15. So then I'm just going to label it with the numbers first, without the negative, and then we're going to figure out which one of those is actually the negative number. Is it the adjacent or is it the opposite? Because we know one of them has to be negative in order for the ratio to end up being a negative fraction. So our adjacent is 8, our opposite is 15, and then taking a look at our triangle, which one has to be the negative number? Is it going to be the 8, which we went right, or the 15, which we went down? And then you're like, oh yeah, we're in quadrant 4. You're going downwards. So it's the 15 that's negative. It's the y value that's negative, okay? So just to remind you guys, this point has a coordinate of 8, -15. So that y value is the negative one because you went down 15. Any questions? Okay. Then we need to solve for our hypotenuse. So we have our A, B, and C over here. Let's use our Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so A is 8. Okay, so we have 64 plus, what is that, 225 equals C squared. Did I do that right? I just want to check because something's in my head is like a little bit confused. Okay, like I'm so sleepy right now, that's what I mean. So you add 64 and 225 and you get 289 is equal to C squared. Then we square root. we get 17 is equal to C. Okay? So C is our hypotenuse, and the hypotenuse is always just a positive number because the hypotenuse is literally just the radius of the circle. Like it is a distance, and a distance is a positive number. Okay, so we got our C value. Any questions? Okay, now I can't remember which trig function they wanted. Okay, cosine, that's what they wanted. Cosine A, so according to our SOHCAHTOA or our chart, whichever one you prefer, because I got the chart straight from SOHCAHTOA, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. And so we have to find our adjacent over here, because remember, we're talking about this angle. So our adjacent is 8, and our hypotenuse is 17. And notice that this is made of both positive numbers. So we have a positive 8 over 17 as our final answer here. Any questions on this one? Okay, 8 over 17, I'm gonna enter that in. Oops, that's not how you type 17, Miss Jade. Cool. Let's stop this recording because, like I said, this is very similar. It's like exactly the same process as the last section. So I think you guys got it. But if you have more questions, just let me know during our breakout session times, okay?